How goes the family? How goes it? Hope you guys having a great evening. Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. So I heard the news today of Bill Cosby being let out. Pennsylvania Supreme Court decided to overturn his conviction. Mixed emotions about the situation because I've always been on the fence with the Bill Cosby thing. And a lot of people, once again, like I always say, it's fine for people to agree to disagree. It's not the end of the world if you disagree with somebody. I had a disagreement with somebody today in regards to the Bill Cosby situation, and that's fine, and we're still friends. Crazy concept, right? Nowadays, people will cancel anybody because they disagree on the smallest thing, and it's gotten ridiculous. But anyways, um, I grew up in a time where I loved the fact that I could. One thing I've noticed, whether you like Bill Cosby or not, like I said, I was always on the fence of what actually happened, in regards to the allegations that was made against him. So I'm not going to speak on stuff that I have nothing to do with in that regards because that's not my place. But I will say that the contribution that Bill Cosby and his family made, especially to the African American community, was tremendous. Um, the one thing I could say during the pandemic is that um, shows like A Different World, shows like The Cosby Show, um, though you don't really see shows like that on anymore. And the beautiful thing about those shows is it showed the perfect dynamics of what an African American family is, from the good and the bad. You have their people who are professionals, people who are tradespeople. I even go a step further with shows like Martin, Living Single. I grew up in the '90s. I'm an '80s baby. I grew up in the '90s, and I'm glad I got to see this growing up. Not just from television shows, but movies, from the Spike Lee movies, from Malcolm X to Get on the Bus to Jungle Fever, great movies. John Singleton movies, Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, great movies. Shaft, Rosewood, great movies. So, um, and it would show different perspectives of African Americans, from whether they're in the military, whether they went to historically black colleges, HBCUs. That's definitely what the show, A Different World show, was all about. Black businesses, a great example, on Living Single, Queen Latifah's character, that's probably the best part about, I guess, the BET Awards is her being recognized for all her greatness. I've always been impressed and amazed with Queen Latifah, and a phenomenal person, phenomenal woman, nothing but love and respect. Okay, much more than just a rapper and much more than just an actress. She's actually a successful entrepreneur. She's been great in real estate. So, you know, nothing but love and respect. Yeah, I grew up in a time where you had, when it came to music in the African American community, with so many great dynamics. You had the dance hall music with, from the Caribbean. You had various amounts of hip hop. You had where the rappers didn't all sound the same. You had DMX, you had Master P, you had Tupac, you had Snoop Dogg, you had Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, you had Juvenile, Cash Money, you had Outkast, you had UGK, Underground Kings. You had a great variety. You had Crucial Conflict, you had Bone Thugs and Harmony, you had Eminem. You had Bone Thugs, yeah, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Do or Die. List goes on and on. You had a mixture of great music, people from all over the place. They did not all sound the same, But and the great shows that I mentioned, like the Cosby Show, like A Different World, heck, and Living Color. You had great comedy, but then you had serious shows. You had South Central, um, Fresh Prince of Bel Air. So you had a great variety of things. I will say that. But the moral of the story is, because this is my little rant for the evening, is that it showed the dynamics of African American community of not just being one. Like even to even throw stupid political nonsense into it. I remember an episode of A Different World where they had a discussion about Democrats and Republicans. Some people were Democrats, some people were Republicans, and guess what? They were still cool with each other at the end of the day, and that's what reasonable people do. They can agree to disagree, but yet they don't have to cancel each other all at the same time. It's not the end of the freaking world, you know. But anyways, so that's my perspective in regards to that. It's like, the contributions that Bill Cosby made in that regards, to bringing good entertainment, but yet to show African Americans in various different forms, not just being thugs and gangsters, not being people that can't speak proper English, not just being people who are snooty because they have college degrees and they have good professions. People from all tiers, from the blue collar to the white collar, all that great stuff. You know, show different dynamics. Whether people lived in the South or people lived in New York. It was a great mixture of dynamics. I was glad to grow up in the '90s during that time frame. What was promoted was excellence on all levels. Whether somebody was in the military, whether somebody's working in corporate America, whether somebody owned a business. It was a great example. Queen Latifah's character in Living Single, she owned her own magazine because, magazines were a big thing back in the '90s. It was called Flavor Magazine. So, showed business. One thing I could say about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, James Avery, he was, if you ever look at those older episodes, it showed him not only as a lawyer, then turned judge, and he was going to run for political office as a Republican, but he was a businessman. He owned a record store. He owned real estate. These things aren't talked about enough. But and when I look at that now, you had great shows like that. Family Matters, showed the another aspect of great of family dynamics within the African American community, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That was a beautiful thing. In the House, LL Cool J show, another great example. And I say these things now because you don't have as many great shows, period, when it comes to anything nowadays, in my personal opinion. And every generation has their time, so I get that and I respect that. But another thing, three, is ownership, business, family. That was the thing that was talked about the most, even though you had your little bit of ignorance during that time frame. But remember, love it or hate it, the quote unquote gangster rappers of the '90s and moguls were owners. Hence Suge Knight, hence Master P, hence Russell Simmons. Need I go on? Baby, owners, they own their companies. Okay, Jay Prince, owners. So it's like, definitely got to mention Jay Prince. That's what I love and respect about that time frame. And I'm happy to see that, Bill Cosby's being released from prison. He's up in age, and like I said, whether he's guilty of any specific things that he's done, that's not up for me to decide, and I'm not taking sides. But I will say that the impact that he had on my life and other people's lives growing up, not just from a entertainment perspective, but just seeing positive images and whatnot, because, like I said, the media is great for showing negative images when it comes to everything. I call it proper propaganda, because if I were to listen to the media, I'd never would go anywhere. I would just stay in my house all the time, and I'm just keeping it real on that note. But that's another story for another day. Saw a little bit of the BET Awards. Didn't really tickle my fancy, but to me it really sucked. But the last couple of BET Award shows kind of sucked for the most part. So they're not as, the only upside to it is it was in LA Live, and I love Los Angeles, but didn't do anything for me. And most of today's new, like the people that matter the most, the DMX tribute was awesome. I will say that much. DMX tribute was great. It'd be nice to see people more of a Kendrick Lamar, or a J. Cole, or it'd be nice to be promoted a little bit more people that, not only put out good music, but, actually, um, sound like they have an education or read. I don't only say education, but sound like they actually read books, things of that nature. I got nothing against Amigos, but the moment I was like, okay, I can't listen to these guys and take them seriously. And I'm not making fun of my Southern brethren at all, because Master P is country as anything. And I got nothing but love and respect for him because he's a businessman. He's very intelligent. It showed how intelligent he is. But I will say this, not a hater of anybody, but when you talk like as a grown man, I'm like, I can't take you seriously, and that's the Migos. That's just what it is. I can't take a grown man seriously. That no, stop. Pronounce yourself. If that makes me snooty, then so be it. But anyways, that's my perspective in that regards. Anybody who's trying to bring intelligence back, and anybody who's about the financial intelligence movement, I'm all for them, and that's who I respect the most. It's nice to see, some justice happen, and we'll just go from there. But do the great thing for Thanks, family. Like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully, you guys have a great night. I'm done. And, it is what it is. Life goes on, and you got to appreciate every moment that you're here. All right. Take care. And as I always say, make money moves. You're going to live broke like a fool. Take care.